Good morning, Wabash. Speaking today at Pioneer Chapel will be Student Body President Bryce McCullough, class of 23, with his talk titled, Sustaining the Wabash Institution. Bryce McCullough is the current Wabash College Student Body President from Greensburg, Indiana. He is a first-generation college student and a brother of Lambda Chi Alpha, majoring in PPE with a minor in rhetoric. Bryce is also a member of the Sphinx Club, Senior Democracy Fellow for the Wabash Democracy and Public Discourse Initiative, Pre-Law Society, and is the current Executive Director for the Indiana Federation of College Republicans. He has previously served as Philanthropy Chair at Lambda Chi, President of the Wabash College Republicans, and played in the Wabash Pep Band and Jazz Band. Bryce has interned for his hometown mayor's office, an attorney general campaign, his county prosecutor's office, the office of U.S. Senator Todd Young, and Liberty Fund. He's an avid Colts fan, coffee drinker, dog lover, and after graduation, Bryce intends to pursue a career in law and public service. Let's give a warm welcome to Bryce.
Good morning, Wabash. First, I'd like to thank the Sphinx Club for inviting me to speak today. More importantly, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your leadership across campus. I also want to thank my parents, Brian and Carla. I don't think I gave them a warning that I was speaking today, so they can watch the video later. For instilling values in me from a young age to always work hard at everything I do, lead by example, and accept every feat with a gracious and humble spirit. And I would also be remiss if I didn't thank the team around me for all they do for Student Senate. Thank you to Vice President Ben Samsel, Treasurer Ian Rollins, and Secretary Sarvik Chaudhry for your constant leadership, determination, and guidance. Thank you to outgoing Senate Chairman Will Trapp and incoming Chairman Ben Jansen for directing the business of the Senate. Thank you to all of the Senate committee chairmen for their leadership and diligence. Sam Benedict, Jake Talbert, Adam Brookman, John Spagnolo, Braden Lentz, Armand Luthra, Noah Martin, Braden Weiss, Evan Konetkar and Chase Bro, and Michael Bertram. You are the cogs that make this machine work. Thank you to all of the senators for your hard work serving your peers well on these committees. The first time we have had all senators serving on committees to create a better Wabash experience for all of us. And thank you, students, for your active involvement in directing club activities that make this campus thrive. Finally, thank you to Vic Lindsay for helping us make sure that this ship does not sink. I am excited to see what we all will accomplish together this semester. Okay, guys, I'll be honest. I'm still slightly shocked to this day to be standing up here with a pot on my head. To 19-year-old Bryce, the Sphinx Club was a campus group to marvel at, but something maybe to avoid at all costs. Back then, I didn't quite understand what the Sphinx Club was all about. I didn't know a thing about it other than what we wear. And I didn't care to join and find out. Never in a million years did I think I would become a Rhine, let alone join a fraternity. But I did just that the second semester, my freshman year. I accepted a bid from Lambda Chi Alpha. That will forever be the best decision that I made at Wabash. Thank you, brothers, for giving me my best friends and helping me establish a home away from home. Then, around a year after becoming a brother, I put on the pot and stripes for the first time after being initiated into the Sphinx Club. I went from being a G'd to a fraternity guy in the club within a year. Who would have thought? Not me. Well, if you're looking for a pitch, if you're sitting here thinking about whether or not to submit your application for Rhineship, I'll provide you with a quick one. We are much more than cheerleaders for our sports teams and burger grilling aficionados. That's just what you see on the surface. What you don't know is that we teach Wabash history. We teach the importance of smiling as you interact with people and the value of genuinely asking people how they are. We teach discipline and accountability, being able to take your responsibilities seriously, but yourself less seriously. Ryanship and membership in the Sphinx Club has empowered me to believe that I am capable of much more than I ever thought possible. If you do in fact join and find out, as they say, you will be tasked with the responsibility of promoting campus spirit and unity and guarding our campus traditions. But over the past semester as student body president, I have learned that guarding our campus traditions isn't just the responsibility of those of us here in the front. It's a responsibility all of us must assume, and we have to do better. Last semester, you may have heard or been a part of or seen chaos surrounding painting the bench, snagging beta hats, and guarding the bell in front of the chapel. The night after chapel sing, the front door to this chapel was ripped open and damaged. These actions were met with criticism from administration and campus safety and security. Now, I personally think that we got a little too excited to have our first semester free of COVID restrictions and took things a little bit too far. And honestly, nobody can put all the blame on us for our pent-up energy. Locking ourselves in our rooms, being expected to wear a mask essentially everywhere, and having social activities and sporting events stripped away from us felt claustrophobic enough. Outside, of course, the spread and effects of COVID itself, the most dreadful phenomenon was perhaps the worst case of wollygoggles this campus has ever seen. But I digress. After weeks of what we may call shenanigans, we all began hearing rumors that campus traditions were being threatened. While it's not clear if these traditions are actually at risk of being removed, and I don't think they actually are in the near future, it's important for us to recognize that traditions are constantly being evaluated and can change over time. The reality is that there will always be forces pushing for change. But we have to sustain the Wabash institution. I'm not talking about the institution as in the college itself. Over the years, great men and women have created a different sort of culture here that creates some of the world's best people and best leaders. What binds us together is a unique set of norms and traditions that are deeply ingrained in our community. These include the attitudes we cultivate, which are grounded in the gentleman's rule, and the brotherhood experiences we share, like chapel sing, painting the bench, and the Moan on Bell game. These things, which have served as the catalyst for Wabash men making huge impacts on the world post-college, are worthy of being designated an institution in itself, and we cannot and will not lose them. Ronald Reagan, in his first inaugural address as governor of California, provided insight on just how quickly we can lose the things that make us who we are. He said, quote, "Freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation." End quote. Think about that. I think the same can be said about our freedoms at Wabash. We pride ourselves on the gentleman's rule, right? It's a sort of a self-governing constitution that guides our behavior and shapes our character. It allows us to use our discretion, to hold ourselves accountable, and lead our lives at Wabash without undue influence from people above our pay grade. Our freedoms allow us to participate in some of the traditions that I mentioned earlier, but they are not guaranteed to be passed down to future generations. It is up to us to ensure that they are protected and passed down. Unfortunately, there are probably some people out there who would love to rein in our freedoms on this campus. People who have seen it done differently at other campuses, and maybe they even loathe our ability to govern ourselves and learn from our honest mistakes. Well, lucky for us, there is a perfect example of the alternative if you head about 36 minutes south on 231. And that example, as we all know, is nothing short of a miserable failure. It gets worse. According to the college free speech rankings, the Dannies were ranked dead last in the country in campus free speech. I don't know how you accomplish that, but that's one thing that they can be first at. And they had the highest percentage of students who actually self-reported that they censor their own beliefs. I'm pretty sure it was around 70% or so of students said they have to self-censor what they think on campus. During COVID, it got even worse. And to prevent students from visiting residences other than their own, they used over 100 surveillance cameras and ID readers to identify students in violation of their Orwellian restrictions. Now, this not only takes away from the personal freedom of students, it destroys any trust built between students and faculty, staff, and administration. Quite frankly, it is an insult to everything we stand for here at Wabash College, and we will never accept it. Now, the Dannies, they may need babysitters, but us Wabash men can take care of ourselves, and if we falter, we can look after one another. This example should motivate us even more to protect what we have here, the Wabash Institution. But we have to earn it. At the end of the day, the gentleman's rule isn't just a mantra of freedom and toughness. It's a two-edged sword. It is the administration's responsibility to afford us the freedoms necessary to have a fun and valuable experience. But it is our responsibility to exercise those freedoms with care. We are expected to live up to the example set by generations of Wabash men who have gone before, and to set examples for those who follow. It is to essentially do as we please with understood ethical parameters, or as the likes of Oliver Wendell Holmes and John Stuart Mill explained, your liberty to swing your fist ends just where my nose begins. In other words, yes, freshmen can paint the senior bench and guard it, but they can and must do so without damaging college property or injuring others along the way. And if it just so happens to be really cold outside, it may be a good idea to start a fire and bring some blankets. Yes, we can and do have fun and sometimes roam campus with friends if we like. But that doesn't mean that we are allowed to break into buildings or vandalize other houses. Yes, we can guard this very chapel during Monon Bell Week, but tearing up original fixtures and leaving the chapel a mess is going to frustrate just about anybody coming across it. The best way to sustain the traditions that make up the Wabash Institution isn't to get angry and walk into Center Hall kicking and screaming. It's upholding our end of the bargain of the gentleman's rule. It's helping them help us. And that is and should be second nature to all of us. That being said, we cannot yield our traditions as they are properly understood and practiced. We won't give in to undue pressure. But that pressure is easily alleviated when we all buy in to the Wabash Institution. I wrote my PPE capstone paper on the importance of community ties in preserving our institutions and promoting trust. I found that the more we participate in community, the better we protect our individual freedoms and sustain the institutions that we care about. Maximizing the usage of our connections in our fraternities and our respective clubs sends a signal to the higher-ups that we can govern ourselves more effectively than they can govern us. So, my challenge to you in this semester ahead is to get out of your rooms as much as you can, and I expect you guys to hold me to the same standard. Go cheer on our little giants at sporting events. Go to a play or Glee Club performance. Attend an event sponsored by a culture club. Instead of going to the Cactus on Thursday nights, pack Wally's on Thursday nights singing karaoke or playing trivia. Crowd the mall every Friday afternoon at TGIF and run the club out of Reiny Burgers. You could even get creative and start a club or create an event. And instead of simply encouraging underclassmen, this is for us upperclassmen, instead of just encouraging underclassmen to go to events, let's bring them with us. It will prove our collective commitment to Wabash and the importance of leaning into the special community that we have. I have no doubt in my mind that we have only begun our return from the pandemic. Let's get active this semester. Let's have fun, all right? Let's get active. Let's do it. Let's have fun, right? But be gentlemen, be the gentlemen that our mothers want us to be. Let's come together and actively work to strengthen the important cultures and experiences of our Wabash institution. Let's be real. None of us will want to come back to share about the good old days like a lot of alums often do at these chapel talks if we didn't think they were good in the first place. Making them good and keeping them good falls on each one of us. I believe in our ability to fight for what makes Wabash Wabash. It will take every single one of us to make it happen. Thank you, and Wabash always fights.